Hi YouTube, good morning. I just woke up at the start of day 2 and I wanted to share my quick thoughts on the build and the league mechanic and everything that happened on day 1. And I just wanted to talk to you guys, give you a quick update and see if you guys are interested in getting regular updates on the build as I progress through them, or if you'd rather prefer only the final version of the build. So let me know in the comments in what you are interested in more, but I feel like there is some added value to be had from showcasing the build halfway through and seeing what you can change and how you can upgrade it, what mistakes people do and should avoid, what mistakes I did and should avoid. And that's just where we are right now. So let's get into it. I need to say that leveling was super smooth. I overleveled quite a bit, to be honest, but the second you get the other tenure, your damage is just really good. And you can switch to Hex Blast when you get Dread Arc. I ended up switching in Cruel Up, but I've heard people switch even earlier than that. As long as you have Blasphemy support and you use it with a different curse, you can just swap in like Act 3, Act 4, and it feels completely fine. But also you can just level with Pyroclast all the way to Kitava. It is on your personal preference, doesn't really matter too much. The one thing that positively surprised me and I was completely wrong on initially is how good automation support feels. This is difficult to explain because if you haven't played the build, you would think it's the same as left click detonate, but it feels so different. It feels so much better actually. Especially on single target, because there you weren't always holding left click. And it makes Miner, honestly, one of the smoothest playstyle that I've ever played. You don't have to aim, you don't have to press any buttons, all you do is run around and press right click and everything just explodes. It is so good. I can't overstate how well this support feels. It's like absolute game changer. The automation support is also connected to one of the mistakes people end up doing quite a lot, and that is number 1, it apparently doesn't work with the detonate mines are triggered when you are moving. I haven't tried this myself, but apparently that doesn't mesh well with automation support. So make sure you unspec this by the time you start using automation. And I recommend you start using automation as soon as you can, especially when you are playing Hex Blast. On Pyroclast, might not be completely ideal since Pyroclast actually cares a lot about the chains, but Hex Blast doesn't nearly as much. So, you know, the second you switch to Hex Blast, do yourself a favor, try out automation. Speaking of automation, we also have its younger brother, and honestly, that one is amazing too. Cold Arms Enduring Cry has been like absolutely popping off in this build. You get extra recovery from it, you get extra enduring charges, it feels amazing. The only thing that's downside of this is the sound it makes, but you know, that's a low price to pay for the power we get. The build currently has a few issues that I need to solve. My chaos resist is really low, especially after I upgraded a bunch of my gear pieces to give me more damage. I had to drop some chaos stress. I will be fixing it by getting it on boots and gloves, and ideally on shield as well, but we'll see how that goes. And other part is that it kind of struggles with elements, but I will be getting element immunity as I showcased in the initial POB. It's just gonna take a while and some currency, but we are working on these issues to solve them. Otherwise, this build way overperformed of what I was predicting though. I was just gonna sit in Sanctum like a rat and farm some currency. What I ended up doing is I started mapping, and I enjoyed mapping way too much on this build. It actually felt so good that I ended up completing my full Atlas, you know, getting some favorite slots, killing Cortex, killing either Exarch. I will be finishing my Void Stones today, getting all these invites done. It shouldn't be a problem at all. And overall, mapping on this build actually felt really good, way better than I expected. I didn't even die much. Honestly, I have like 9 devs here. 2 of them were me trolling in Purjoys against like an Abyss Soul Eater. And generally, I don't know, I'm almost, what, 96? Yeah, 96. And it felt really good. Obviously, it's not like a Giga tank, you cannot face tank like endgame stuff, but for mapping, you just freeze everything and everything dies, so it doesn't actually matter at all. And I've been very positively surprised how this felt mapping. And that is without the skittering roots annoying. The way I went over that is I ended up opting for Carcass Jack instead of Restless Ward. I don't necessarily think it's better, it's just different. It gives you some damage and AoE, which feels amazing early on, so consider that as your option. It also has life and resist. It's just a solid chest. It's just gonna be harder to get like a corrupted one. I don't have a 6 link yet because it makes it easier on my mana, so what I did is just opt for a 5 link and upgrade my damage in other places. But I will definitely be getting 6 link today. That is definitely on my list. The item where I spent the most money on is obviously this wand. I crafted this with fossils, metallic corroded shattering. I talked about this in the previous video, and I don't know, I spent like 5 or 6 divines in total on this, not including the base, which I sniped for 1 divine. And you could say this is an endgame wand. I'm not sure. I might try to actually Veiled Orb the life per enemy hit to crit multi or whatever from from the Unveiled mod, but we'll see if we try to go for that or not. Right now, I'm thinking that we might just stick with this one as it is good enough. Sandstorm Visage, I ran my own relic, the Chains of Castigation. It's not easy. If your build is weak at the time, you should probably just buy it. It's not that expensive last I checked, it was like 3 div or something, which is completely fine. The one thing to note, I actually completed my full Atlas before Sandstorm Visage. Or well, at least I did like Eater and tier 16s before that, and my damage felt completely fine. Just make sure you actually use increased crit before you switch to Sandstorm, and then you drop it afterwards for either Void Manip or Trap and Mind damage once you get the Sandstorm. My shield's like okay, but I definitely want to recraft this. I want to have Chaos Stress on it, and then I can force +1 Chaos as well. So I will probably be recrafting this a bit later. My amulet's pretty mid, very cheap, anointed. Profane Proxy, I actually bought this for the Divine that I dropped in Act 4. I got super lucky with an Arcanist box in Act 4, and it, kickstarted my league start a little bit, but you can get away without this ring for quite a while. You just replace Skitterboots with Blasphemy, and it feels completely fine. I'm using Frostbite currently just because this ring was a really good buy. I think it was 1 divine, maybe it was 2, I genuinely don't remember, but it was just way better than every other ring at the time. So I figured might as well use Frostbite. It doesn't really matter too much, I lose combustion, but damage is fine, so it doesn't matter too much. Still using the other Sinner, I really want to drop these soon, but I didn't get to it yet. Hopefully I will upgrade Boots and Gloves today, so we'll see then. Belt, very basic. Boots, very basic, not much else to say there. When it comes to my Atlas strat, I started with Betrayal and Nico. I had all these Nico nodes combined with Pact with Energy. It honestly made Atlas progression very nice, but I'm at the point where I feel like I don't need this at all, so I just unspec'd and opted in for more value. Early Kirak cluster here was more than enough for me to complete the Atlas. I highly recommend getting 1 Kirak cluster either here though, or in the middle. It definitely helps a lot, as without it, the Atlas progression would take a lot longer. I spec'd into boxes. Those are a little annoying with like all the Ignite and Chaos Clouds and whatnot, but I already talked about those problems. We will fix those hopefully today. Essence is super good on this build. You just pre-stack, blow up the Essence, and you are good to go. So I clicked on that. I am farming a bit of Harvest. Honestly, I don't think Harvest is that good for currency right now, but I just enjoy doing it on this build. It feels good. I'm very much just doing stuff that I enjoy doing because I don't need to rush for currency. I play 16 hours a day. If you are someone who doesn't have that much time, you should probably think a little more on what you are doing, but I just do whatever I enjoy, and it feels completely fine. Like, it's not like I'm poor. I actually made a decent amount of currency, including my gear, right? I have 10 divines in my stash, so I feel like I did well for myself on day 1. Essences are starting to pile up. I'm not gonna be selling them early, I'm just gonna sell them in bulk later. And a lot of these scarabs, especially the higher tier ones, actually came from Betrayal. And I haven't tried selling them yet, but I'm assuming the higher tier ones are gonna have some value, so we'll see how that turns out as well. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say for the build. Honestly, overperforming. Even I expected the build to be good, but it is actually very good. That would be my TLDR on this, because it performs amazingly, and mapping on it feels so good. Way better than I expected, honestly. Even though I tested the mapping, I didn't do long mapping sessions beforehand. And I do think it's partially because of the automation support, which, whenever you are doing anything, your minds are just going off, so you're always safe. Even if you are not currently holding left click, it is insane. If you haven't played a miner in a while, or you have played a miner and you enjoy the playstyle, I highly recommend trying this out. I don't think you will regret. everyone who has equipped the automation support, I don't think they can go back, and I hope GGG doesn't make us go back in the next patch, because this feels insane. I don't know what else to say. It's really hard to explain unless you try it out, because you would feel like it's the same as left click, but it just doesn't feel the same as left click. That's gonna be it though, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments if you want these updates regularly, and what you want to hear in them, what you want to see in them, or if you would prefer just like fully finished builds and you don't really care about the midway stage. It's all up to you guys on what the content is gonna be in the future on this YouTube, so please let me know. Like the comment, subscribe to the channel, it helps a lot. I do want to start doing this a lot better than I did in the future. Instead of ditching for 3 months every league, I actually want to do updates regularly. And that brings me to another point, actually, before we log off. I do want to make a build for every ascendancy in the game, so at least 9 builds. That's goal number 1. Goal number 2, probably more important, I want to make more builds than Mattel. And that is gonna be hard, but this is build number 1, we have a lot of work to do. I will see you guys next time. Bye!